English teacher, and her name is Leigh Ann Chow. Leigh Ann, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to address this gathering. Thank you to my brother Max for hosting us here tonight. And it's my honor to be here tonight to represent PSEA. A shout out to my PSEA, the Pennsylvania State Education Association. And I'm here tonight, as Steve said, my name is Leigh Ann Chow. I'm an English teacher at Mechanicsburg Senior High School. I'm also a constituent of Scott Perry's in the 10th District. I live in Upper Allen Township, Cumberland County, and I'm a teacher, a parent, and a taxpayer in my school district. But tonight I speak as an individual. So tonight I really would like to come to you with a story. When I was thinking about what to say tonight, I was looking at facts and statistics and thinking about numbers, and I was like, no, I think what's really gonna get this through to people is a story. So I'm gonna tell you a little story that I hope will give you a teacher's perspective on how these potential cuts to Medicaid funding will impact actual real-life students who sit in our classrooms. It's one thing to think about these students, or these cuts rather, in the abstract, but it's really different when you can put a face to them. So I hope that my short remarks will do that tonight. So the student I want to talk to you about tonight, I'm going to call her Alex. I've asked her about this, but I decided to change her name. She's a bubbly 18-year-old high school senior who I got to know last year when she was in 11th grade. She's an active member of the high school marching band and a leader in her church youth group. She's a bit shy, but she's very quick to smile. Basically, she's just a really awesome kid who makes it a joy to work as a public educator. Alex also happens to be deaf. Because of her exceptionality, she has an individualized education program, which in ed speak we call an IEP, which is actually a legally binding document that makes her eligible for certain services to ensure that she has access to the same educational opportunities that her non-disabled peers have. By the way, that's one of the great things about public education. We don't pick and choose who comes through our We educate, lovingly educate, each and every student that comes to us. So Alex's IP states that she will be provided with audiology services as well as interpreting for all academics, after-school programs, and field trips. And guess where that funding comes from? Yeah, so the funding for those services, her audiology sessions, as well as the reimbursement for the salary for her interpreters, is paid through something called the School-Based Access Program, so the SBAP. Which is, it's Medicaid funded. And because of this House budget resolution that guy was proud to vote for, that funding is on the chopping block. Yeah, right, exactly. There. So Alex, last year I had her as a student in my second period AP English Language and Composition course. So that's not just like your regular run-of-the-mill English course. This is an elective, a demanding college-level writing course that Alex chose to take to challenge herself. She was a curious and engaged student. She contributed frequently to class discussion, which I wasn't actually expecting. But she did rely on her interpreters to take in information. But because of those audiology services, she was actually able to express her thoughts and ideas with her own voice. And so one of my favorite memories from last semester was Alex presenting the findings from her research about the adverse impact of social media on teens' mental health. So the positives of having Alex in class extended far beyond the benefits that she actually received. In 17 years in the classroom, Alex was the first student I ever had the opportunity to work with that was deaf and hard of hearing. Having her in my classroom actually made me a better teacher, not just to Alex, but to all my students. Being sensitive to what benefited her also helped me to benefit other students. And not just me, Alex's classmates were also able to grow by having her in the class with them. So, working with her on a daily basis and recognizing that the value of someone's contributions aren't defined by the way they can communicate, that was amazing. So, so by having students like Alex in our classrooms, we all become better, more empathetic human beings. So Alex is living proof of the power of public education. So she's a senior now, and she's been accepted to a four-year college. So she's really excited. Next fall, she'll head off to college to continue her education, and she wants to be a scientist. So how awesome is that? Yeah. So I can't wait to see what she can accomplish next. So this is where I get bad. This is where angry Mrs. Chow comes out. So I refuse to stand by quietly as politicians like Scott Perry try to justify cuts to Medicaid-funded programs like SBAP that provide students like Alex with these services. He says that he was proud to vote for these $880 billion in cuts. I say that he's a coward. Yeah, he's a coward. Not having the courage to come here. Yeah. He doesn't have the courage to come to show up in person in front of us, his constituents, to explain why he thinks that tax cuts for billionaires are more important than services for students like Alex. So thank you once again for having me here tonight. Thank you to my brothers and sisters and the other activists on this panel, and thank you all for being here.